Are you serious? Are you serious? The water's turning blood red. The water's turning red like blood. What? Once again, here we go again. This is the 17th time in a little over 3 years that the water has turned blood red somewhere in the world. 17 different locations. This time, Florida. Now, red tides are, they are known. We understand that. We know they are a natural phenomenon. They're rare, but they do happen. Okay, they do happen. But this one is of biblical proportions. This is the largest red tide they have ever seen there in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Florida that they have ever witnessed. This coastal plains of Florida are facing serious threat from this very large, extremely large red tide bloom. They haven't seen anything like this in over a decade, and even then it wasn't this big. Now this red tide is poisoning, devastating, its infestation on the marine life of Florida. The incoming tide has already claimed thousands of lives of dead fish in the Gulf of Mexico and is now reported to be closing in on the coast. The red tide bloom is expected to wash ashore, striking the mainland in around 2 weeks. Folks, according to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission, the bloom has spread to about 80 miles wide, 80 miles in length, and 50 miles wide. What? The water is turning blood-like. It's almost like looking at blood in the water, or the water becoming like blood. Now we know the Bible said this would happen. We know it's happened before. In the days of the Exodus, in the days of Egypt, God was sending a serious message to Pharaoh that that the children of Israel were going to be exiting Egypt, whether he liked it or not. But in Revelation chapter 8, it talks about the water turning blood red after a burning fire falls into the sea and kills a bunch of fish, and the water turns blood red. Now, in another portion of Revelation, in the 16th chapter of the book of Revelation, the scriptures say it this way. It says in verse 3, "And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of waters, and they became blood." So, and then we know there's scripture, other places that talks about the water turning blood red, also in the book of Ezekiel. So there's different places, but anyway, once again, we're witnessing. This one is because it can be explained. Now, a lot of the other places when the water turned blood red, like the river ran blood red in Beirut, Lebanon for 3 straight days, or the Yangtze River turned blood red, or the creek in the Netherlands went blood red, or a lot of these cases, or it rained blood red rain in Sri Lanka and another time in India. A lot of these cannot be explained because there was no algae bloom. So they would test the water for toxins, or they thought maybe somebody poured in dye. But each time they tested, there was no scientific explanation for why the water was turning blood red. In this case, we do know it is an algae bloom. What we are puzzled by is the size of this thing. It is enormous. It's apocalyptic in nature. And so, once again, we realize we're living in the last days. The signs of the Lord's return are everywhere. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're running out of time. It's time to be saved.